Alright. So Loomscape basically একটা এক্সিবিশন যেখানে আমরা এক মাস একটা আর্টিস্ট রেসিডেন্সির আউটপুট গুলো দেখাচ্ছি, যেখানে 5 জন আর্টিস্ট আর 5 জন আর্টিসানদের সাথে একটা কো-ক্রিয়েশন আমরা করেছি. So it's a textile art exhibition celebrating the technique of Jamdani loom weaving. Ebong we've worked with a particular family, with Elim uncle and his son Rajan Mia, who are master artisans, and the artists had the opportunity to collaborate with them and their other artisan weavers within the community as well. And we took the artists on a journey to have various conversations with the artisans to figure out like how their collaboration was going to take place. So each of the art pieces that we see over here is a reflection of that dialogue and that individual spaces that an artisan and an artist is coming from. So first off, we will go to Hiva. Hiva is from London. She's a London-based artist, and her work, she specializes in 3D weaving. So 3D weaving, what we did was, this was her concept over there, where she tried to emulate what 3D weaving can be on Jamdani. So as she comes from like an industrial designer background, she wants to experiment with re-engineering the hand loom to see if it's possible to even like create like another layer on the Jamdani textile. So this was the collaboration between her and Noman, who is a tapestry artist, and together they were able to develop this 3D model of what 3D weaving can actually look like. They've used like Bangladeshi coins inside it to see that other materials and other textures can be involved within the 3D loom to show the possibilities of integration of different mediums as well. Over here, she sent us a video of her from London, from her studio, where she has been working on mirroring what the work was being done in Dhaka as well, and she's developed an instruction manual of what the 3D weaving can look like as well. So this is basically her journey from her studio in London. Then we have Saurabh Jahan, who is a multidisciplinary artist, and his entire project at Loomscape is basically about documenting how the Jamdani weavers, Elim uncle, and he's worked with like overall 10 weavers. He's spent an extensive amount of time staying over there, communicating and learning from how the loom works, and he has documented that through moving images on his documentary film. And these are some of the photographs that he has taken, which are printed on transparent paper. And so over there is basically the continuation of his work, where we see a projection of the moving image on a 300 count loom, 300 count Jamdani, where it's Jamdani on Jamdani being projected basically. So that's been a very interesting piece for us to like see, and there is sound recordings of how it sounds like when the artisans are working on the loom. Like it's very quiet, but there is this very beautiful rhythmic sound that comes through when they're working with the different tools in the loom. Then briefly, if we come over here, we have 2 sample work from Rajan Mia and Elim uncle that they have worked on over the years. This is a technique that they use to create samples before they take on like really big projects, and all of these motifs are century-old motifs that they have been able to revive in coalition with Chandrasekhar Shaha and other artists, to be able to exhibit in other international exhibitions as well. So these were the samples that they had been able to create. Then we will move on to Taslima. Over here, we see that Taslima Alam, she is an artist who has been specializing on sacred art and Islamic geometric art as well. So her work has been basically in specializing sacred Islamic art, and she's the first Bangladeshi to design a Timurid carpet for King Charles III and 12 Mughal miniatures for his residence at the Connaught Hotel in London. And we're very blessed to have her be able to participate in our artist residency as well and work in coalition with the artisans Rajan Mia and Jahangir Bhai, with whom she was able to emulate basically the tiger stripes or the Sintanamoni, which brings together the Ottoman motifs that are blended with the Buddhist trio of circles, symbolic of power and balance in the Tesri, or a diagonal formation. These are the same motifs that appear historically in Timurid and Mughal chronicles. So you'll see some of the illustrations that she has done over here, taking the polka or the paisley and kind of turning that, connecting that with the Ottoman rum and developing her own motifs, which is the banner of Timur, symbolizes that founder and the patriarch of the Mughals. And it is rooted in his Mongolian nomadic past and also found in Jamdani. So her work basically shows that the heavenly warp between the earth through the weft and the warp creation, and where she celebrates old motifs being used in different ways in a new format through the technique of using the Jamdani loom weaving. Then we have Lamis. Lamis over here has basically collaborated with two artisans. Their work celebrates old and new, again in a very fantastic way, where if you see the animation over there, that basically shows what we were able to send to her and what she was able to create. So before we started the artist residency, I had sent her a sample, we sent her samples of old Jamdani saris, which she took on, and then she basically deconstructed it to create her own style of work. And she's a digital printmaking artist, and she's also specialized in AR as well. So for her, it's really important to understand how to work with ideas that she can completely deconstruct and construct something out of it as well. So it's a process of abstraction is what she calls it. And so we see that imprint, so that's been the first journey, and then we see the textile, where over here there's a dialogue happening between Lamis and the artisan Nozrul Bhai and Amir Hussain Bhai, where these are the old traditional motifs that they have revived over the years. And this is the dialogue that Lamis is having with them, where she has completely deconstructed old Jamdani motifs into her new formats. And this keeps repeating over here, traditional old Jamdani motifs, and then this is her voice, what she was able to create with the old one. So I think this is a really fantastic comparison to see that both has that space to coexist, and that balance between the both is also very important to create room for new designers and new thinkers as well. Then we will move on to, so this is another work. If you come over here, I can show you. From the digital installation, this is what came out basically, and this is the full print. This is on textile, and this is the printout of that work. If I could read some of it from you, it's called Phantom Logic, which is, it reconstructs traditional Jamdani samples into fluid motifs. Through processes of deconstructing tangible fabrics and restructuring them digitally, historic samples emerge as contemporary abstractions. Repetitive processes parallel both the loom and the digital spheres, allowing both weaver and technologist to enter a meditative flow state. Phantom Logic explores how artisans and digital technologists both embrace order, logic, and unpredictability. So I think that's a very powerful dialogue for us to capture through their work. Over here we have Anika Alamin and her work. If we start from here, I think that would give you more context, that this is a prayer that has been generationally handed down to Jamdani weavers from one generation to another, from Ustad to Shagrid, before the Shagrid is trained to be on the loom to learn how to weave Jamdani. So this is a very important verse for all Jamdani weavers, and It has changed over the years with certain statements and certain things being changed, but the context of it still remains the same. And this is what Anika has illustrated on the Jamdani loom, on the Jamdani textile basically. It uses indigo dye to represent the long lineage of the decolonization and the colonization conversation we are having through this exhibition. That indigo was also a very prominent historical heritage of Bangladesh as well, which got disrupted completely because of the colonization under the British rule. And then over the years, we've been able to revive the whole practice again. So it was really important for her to like emulate, capture that essence that our work with indigo dye, our work with Jamdani still continues despite all the colonization impacts from the British rule. Over here, so she's gone through a rigorous process in developing this illustration. This you will see over here. So it's based on the Putikarpas, which is the main plant for the cotton that was used to develop the muslin for years, right? But so she wanted to commemorate and celebrate that plant, which is no longer available across the belt of Shitolakha River, which used to happen before. So these illustrations were basically then, through conversation with Rajan Bhai, has been emulated on the textile. And these are some of the waves of like how the loom basically works. Like behind the textile, you basically see like how the pattern of the weft basically goes across the Jamdani to create that texture. So she works in she time to time practices weaving in a studio in London, and these are some of the work that she has previously done being in London, learning how to work with the loom herself. So she's the only artist that we have on board who is the weaver herself. So the dialogue between Rajan Bhai and Jahangir Bhai to like work on this piece, Amir Hussain Bhai, like to work on this piece was very special because it was a weaver to weaver conversation. So I think both of them enjoyed the conversation a lot, and because they were able to connect and relate on a completely different plane. So that pretty much basically summarizes what our exhibition is about, Loomscape. Oh, Eta we talked about with the Hiva's the 3D model of what 3D weaving can look like has been fleshed out through a tapestry work in collaboration with Noman, who is an artist himself. And because Hiva couldn't make it to Bangladesh this time, hopefully she will be coming down this year to like work on this 3D weaving on the loom. So in order to be able to communicate what we're trying to do to the weavers, we developed this 3D model. And yesterday we had a very fantastic conversation with the artisans as well, that whether this is possible to do on Jamdani or not. So the conversation is still going on. So yeah.